And the only thing that I can think of which separates them from us is the fact that they dared to do it. They dared to step out and do something like that when most of us don't want to do that. Good morning, thanks for joining me. This is a morning walk, and this morning we're in Albany in southern Western Australia. And I've got to say, I didn't know really what to expect from Albany, but it's beautiful. Really quite an amazing place. And what's more is this whole region is filled with the most spectacular stuff to see, like tall trees and everything. Let's go for a bit of a walk and have a chat. How are you this morning? Hit me up down below in the comments. If you're a new friend, an old friend, a lost friend. How are you? Tell me down below, I'd love to hear from you. Let's go. It's interesting, last night as we were sitting at dinner having a good pizza on the main road, we were looking up a bit of information about Albany just to kind of find out more about this place. And we saw that it was the 6th largest city in Western Australia with only 35,000 people. My wife was kind of laughing because the village she comes from back in France has got something like 20,000 people and there's not even a dot on the map. It's quite funny to think that 35,000 people makes Albany the 6th biggest in Western Australia. And Perth has got 1.8 or 1.9 million people, which is kind of reflecting on how concentrated Australia is. Because it's the same story if you go to South Australia or to Victoria or New South Wales. So much concentration in like one central place. Sort of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Because where there's concentration, there's like opportunity, right? And that's probably what draws more and more people in. It's that possibility of being part of something bigger and having everything at your disposal and more market opportunities and more jobs and everything. But I guess outside of the big centres, places like Albany and even smaller, there's actually tons of work out here. It's one of the things that really surprised me as we've been travelling around Australia, is just how much work and opportunity is outside of those big capital cities. I mean, literally, if you're not a snob about what you do, like you're just looking to work, you're just looking for sort of an opportunity to establish a life, I mean, coming to a beautiful place like Albany, cost of living is much less expensive, jobs here if you want them, you're outside the hustle and the bustle. There really is so much opportunity outside those areas of concentration if you're not too fussy. I've definitely met so many people while we've been on the road who've managed to create the most incredible lives for themselves. You know, there's one guy that we met that essentially has been travelling around Australia for 35 years in his caravan, and basically all he does is he's a painter. So every time he arrives in a new town, he parks at the caravan and says, "Hey, I'm a painter. Would you let me stay for free for a month if I do a whole bunch of painting for you for free?" And of course they say yes. So he's literally got no costs, and then he finds little jobs to do in town and has literally been exploring for 35 years, which is so extraordinary, right? When you contrast that with people who might work in a big city and have all the stress and pressure and commuting, and then there's money and you've got to charge more and fight for jobs. And no, like this dude is just like living out there in the most beautiful camping grounds and caravan parks in all of Australia, making a run of it. And he's not the only one. There are literally, I don't know, a dozen or more people like that I've met. And the only thing that I can think of which separates them from us is the fact that they dared to do it. They dared to step out and do something like that when most of us don't want to do that. Most of us, you know, want to be where the concentration is. You know, like, not like that's a problem. Everyone's got to make their own choice, don't they? And for lots of us, like for me and my family, we decided we wanted to be in Sydney because my wife's family's from France, and for us to go back to France is already a bit of a mission. And so if we're going to live somewhere in Australia, we want to live somewhere where it's accessible to get back to France really easily, and you've got all of the different services and amenities and entertainment and what have you that you could expect by being in Sydney. So we've made our choice. But I guess so many of us maybe don't choose, deliberately, consciously choose what we want, and just feel like we need to follow the herd without pausing to decide if we want to create ourselves a life that travels, so to speak. A life where you're literally out in the bush or out in these small country towns, making close connections, working and not earning anywhere near as much money, but living with like a quality of life that is better than you might have elsewhere. So I'm not saying that you should choose to be in a big place or a small place. All I'm suggesting is that we should all stop often and really think about what we really want. Made the most important stop of the morning. Now the morning can really begin. I think the most critical thing to remember about that is when we're trying to do anything big, whether it's trying to join the gym to lose 10 kilos or it's trying to change city or change career, nothing happens in big dramatic steps. Everything is incremental, and the easiest way to get started with it is basically by removing the friction to change. So for example, if you want to change city, one of the biggest points of friction might be the fact you've got an existing job. So you would remove that friction by already applying for jobs in the place where you want to go. So remove that friction and take small steps, and that'll help get you on the right path. Well, thanks for joining me for a walk around Albany. It's been fun having a bit of a chat about concentrating on concentration or something. I need this thing to kick in. It's a beautiful day out here, so whatever you're getting up to, I hope it's an awesome one. I'll see you next time on the morning walk. Have a great day.